Today, Chris Christie with a mea culpa about masks.
And it was a mistake.
The former New Jersey governor who spent 7 days in the ICU admitting he should have worn a face covering at that Rose Garden ceremony and while prepping the president for the debate.
And I think we need to be honest with the American people and just say directly to them that we don't know everything we need to know about this disease at this point, George. But what we do know is that masks can certainly help.
That just hours after the president said his opinion of masks hasn't changed after catching COVID.
I'm good with masks. I'm okay with masks.
Then cited a false conclusion about a recent CDC study.
85% of the people that wear masks catch it. So
they didn't say that. I know that study.
The CDC tweeting the interpretation that more mask wearers are getting infected is incorrect, adding that its study actually found people with and without COVID claimed to use masks in public, but that people with COVID were more likely to have eaten in a restaurant, an activity where masks can't be worn. Both the president and Christie received antibody treatments under compassionate use exemptions, a way seriously ill patients can receive investigational drugs if no alternative therapies are available. Regeneron, which provided the antibody cocktail to the president, says it has granted fewer than 10 exemptions. For John Lober, there is only one answer when it comes to wearing masks.
I didn't wear a mask, and I didn't social distance. And I paid the price for it.
He has lingering side effects and a new mission.
Just because I acted like an idiot doesn't mean that you have to.
To help save others. Kristen Dahlgren, NBC News, New York.
Hey, NBC.
After massive spending to shore up the economy hammered by the pandemic and to save U.S. businesses from going belly up, the U.S. federal budget deficit hit a record $3.132 trillion during fiscal 2020. That's according to the U.S. Treasury on Friday, which said the deficit more than doubled the previous record of $1.416 trillion in 2009 during the financial crisis. At the start of the 2020 fiscal year, the U.S. government had been forecast to rack up a $1 trillion deficit. But that was before coronavirus lockdowns began in March, sending the economy into a tailspin. The final fiscal 2020 deficit numbers come as the Trump administration and Congress have been unable to agree on a new round of coronavirus stimulus, with many Senate Republicans calling for fiscal restraint in another package. Meanwhile, millions of Americans remain out of work, and the $600 extra boost to weekly unemployment payments has dried up.
Zevk versinəm qınam hoğu başpanı. Есть подрастный мишт, мейер ханер димас.
Я говорю, первый раз в своей жизни вот этой ерундой занимаюсь. Еще никогда в жизни я не заряжал.
Это наш хлеб. Мои внуки сейчас в Армению поехали. Они маленькие, 3 года, 5 года. Что здесь будут сидеть? Я за их стою здесь. Победа наша!
Այս կողի մասին ծիծաղով ենք հիշելու։ Են արդեն հաղթած վիճակում։
The parents were calling and saying, "There's a lemur out on the playground."
That was not how Miss Sarah thought she would end her day at Hope Lutheran Day School in Daly City. The San Francisco Zoo's missing lemur, Maki, was out on the yard.
He was hopping around the play structures, but ultimately, while he was waiting to be picked up, was hiding in one of the plastic playhouses.
It's exciting.
According to his parents, it was 5-year-old San Francisco resident James Trin who spotted Maki first when his mom picked him up from school.
What did the lemur look like?
A lemur. White, black, and white. I like the way they look.
And James knew exactly what to do with a wild animal on the loose.
Oh, the zookeeper!
And so it was. Animal Care and Control and Daly City Police showed up and safely took Maki into custody.
There's a lot going on in the world right now, so it was good to just have some good news tonight, at least.
Maki was discovered missing on Wednesday morning from the zoo's Littman family lemur forest. San Francisco police opened a burglary investigation when they discovered evidence of forced entry and damage to the enclosure.
We do not think he escaped. We think he was taken from the zoo, but we have yet to have confirmation on either of those.
Ed Poole is chair of the San Francisco Zoological Board. He says because of Maki's old age, he's 21, and the traumatic experience he's endured, there is some concern about Maki's health and condition.
We certainly, absolutely hope for the best for Maki.
Today, a judge ruled all 5 suspects facing federal charges in the plot to kidnap the governor will be going to trial.
That came as the defense attorneys in the case claimed their clients were all talk and didn't actually plan to carry out the kidnapping. Defender Sean Lay was in Grand Rapids today for the hearing. Sean.
Good evening from Grand Rapids. A big part of this hearing focused on another Metro Detroit man named Ty Garbin. His attorney argued that threats and plotting against Governor Whitmer is protected free speech. Training to carry out the plot is lawful assembly. The judge did not agree. Since the plot to kidnap the governor hit like a bombshell last week, the local 4 defenders have been focused on 3 men from Metro Detroit who the FBI says just aren't part of this group, but they say Daniel Harris from Lake Orion, Caleb Franks from Waterford, and Ty Garbin from Heartland were allegedly leaders of the group and wanted to kill the governor. A hearing to see if the FBI has enough evidence on all of the federally charged continued Friday, and it was Garbin's attorney to ask the questions of the FBI, getting the agent to reveal that with more than 100 hours of 2 FBI informants recording the men allegedly making the plans, the FBI has little video of these meetings. The attorney argued Garbin and others could not have liked what they heard about the violence and simply walked away. Attorneys for Garbin and accused ringleader Adam Fox argued that talking about kidnapping the governor, storming the Capitol with maximum violence is protected free speech. Meetings held on Garbin's property is protected lawful assembly. The judge with the final say saying a plan doesn't have to go into action to be guilty of conspiracy. She says the men relentlessly planned and trained, and Fox and Garbin were arrested October 7th by the FBI. The judge says there was more than enough evidence that the 2 were trying to buy parts for a bomb. Garbin's attorney, who successfully defended the Hutari group against the FBI, comparing both cases.
There are First Amendment rights of assembly and speech at play here, and Second Amendment rights to possess firearms. There's more to this case than just the government's, for now, by the way. We know what's in the criminal complaint. It's going to be interesting if they end up indicting what's going to be in that indictment.
All men facing the federal charges now will face trial. Their attorneys say so much more information should come out. In Grand Rapids, Sean Lay, Local 4 Defenders.